Hello everybody, and welcome back for another episode of Pokemon Legends Kyurem. I hope you're all enjoying the series so far. I really wouldn't know as I'm recording this and editing it before the first episode even comes out. However, if the extremely kind and encouraging comments that I got on my other video after announcing the series is anything to go off of, I feel pretty well encouraged to hop right into creating a few more ancient Pokemon yet again for this ancient Unova region. For those of you who don't know, Pokemon Legends Kyurem is a series where I redesign existing Generation 5 Pokemon under the guise of my new versions being an ancient form of the existing monster, like in the way that they made ancient forms for existing Pokemon in Legends Arceus. And in the way that they created a new story for the familiar region of Sinnoh in Hisui, set in the ancient past, so too will I eventually go on to create a map, human characters, and a full story for my version of the ancient Unova region. But we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. In this episode, we have a few more new ancient form designs to add to our Pokedex. And who better to start off with than the Lillipup line. Lillipup and its evolutions Herdier and Stoutland are quite blatantly based on Terriers, a dog breed well known for its artificially bred-in traits. When coming up with a Pokemon for this region, an ancient Lillipup was one of the first that came to mind, as immediately I thought along the lines of selective breeding. You see, Terriers gain the traits that they have through generations of selective breeding by humans. And so my thought was to create a dog Pokemon pre-selective breeding and pre-domestication. A wolf. Yeah, that might sound sort of cliche, but I think it works with the whole unexplored ancient Unova region thing. When it came to designing Lillipup, not much changed physically, but the pose. I wanted to better convey a playful personality that the original didn't really, as the juxtaposition between its friendly disposition and its evolution's more serious personalities would be important to the story of this evolutionary line. A few changes I did make in the face shape and the color palette. Those, of course, were to bring this monster closer to resembling a wolf pup. And of course to make it look like a normal and dark type, which also might be a bit of a cliche typing for a wolf Pokemon, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Its shiny plays off of the idea of a white wolf. Lillipup, the wolf pup Pokemon. These cute little Pokemon can be found in abundance during nighttime in Unova. They run about in large packs, playing with one another and anyone they come across. Although this friendly disposition has made them popular pets in the short time since their discovery, people are well advised to stay away to avoid the ire of their more dangerous evolved forms that quite often don't lurk far off. Herdier ended up being the least changed of the bunch, as the more serious personality of its original form worked well for this form. I changed some of the fur patterns on the face to get it closer into looking like a wolf, but kept some of the terrier traits to overall have it read as a Herdier form. There's honestly not that much more that there is to say about this version of Herdier, it's just a wolf Herdier. The big changes come when designing the final form. Herdier, the wolf Pokemon, and the evolved form of Lillipup. This Pokemon is only active during the night, and can be detected not by sight, but by sound. They hunt in stealthy packs and can be recognized by their distinct howl. It is recommended that should any nighttime travelers hear the howl of a Herdier, that they should immediately evacuate the area, as not only do Herdier have a reputation for being violent, but their evolved form is a whole other beast. Stoutland was a challenge to draw in this style, and early on in the sketching process I was left with a choice. Do I keep it as a Stoutland form, or do I make it a completely different alternative form that can stray a little further from the original idea than I otherwise could? In the end, I decided that I would make this Pokemon a different one, as base Stoutland's boxy shape just does not lend very well to a wolf design at all. I did, however, keep many of Stoutland's traits in this form to keep it properly visually related. Its design needed to hint towards the fact that it had one day become Stoutland, and acts as a bit of a Weirdier or Ursaluna style evolution for Herdier. In fact, I put some evidence of humans beginning to selectively breed the aggression out of this Pokemon in its Pokedex entry, or at least a simplified idea of it. I posed it as if it were howling at the moon. The name Stoutland comes as a three-way portmanteau between the words Stoutland, the original Pokemon, howl, and foul, as this Pokemon would have a rather unpleasant reputation. Not only did I get creative with its name, but so too with its Pokedex designation as well. Dire wolves are a type of wolf ancestor that was alive 250,000 years ago. As Stoutland shares a similar idea as it would be extinct in the modern day, I designated it the Dire Pokemon, as not only did it share this aspect with its extinct real-life counterpart, but also it refers to the fact that you wouldn't really want to be around this Pokemon in the wild. Stoutland, the Dire Pokemon, and the evolved form of Herdier. Particularly imposing Herdier will earn the right in their packs to evolve using a Moonstone into this beastly Pokemon. Stoutland are found to be particularly violent and therefore make hazardous Pokemon to train. With little patience, they often lash out at friend and foe alike. This behavior has led many trainers not to evolve their Herdier, as that Pokemon, though still vicious, is easier to tame than a Stoutland. This has led to a rumor that a secondary, more tame evolution can be achieved by a simple level up, but as of now, that evolution has not yet been officially documented. The future of this Pokemon and its relationship to humans remains unclear. The last line that I tackled today was the Timburr line. It was just one of those Mons that people really dislike, and a lot of people think should be redesigned, on account of their whole uncomfortable, veiny thing that they have going on. Although a lot of people do dislike these Mons, I actually quite like them, or, well, at least Timburr and Conkeldurr. An idea came to me to make them lumberjacks, as at least Timburr is based partially on a woodchuck. Timburr was the one that overall changed the least, as it was already holding a 2x4 in its original art, and changing that into a log wasn't a crazy design change. One of the main changes I'd quote-unquote fix would be the veins that people just really don't like. And inspired by the fur-collared coats that stereotypical lumberjacks are known to wear, I gave this Pokemon a fur collar to cover up where its veins might be. I also made it red for the same reason, to refer to the red flannels that lumberjacks stereotypically wear. I had some fun with the Pokedex designation here as well, playing off of the words jacked as in muscular, which is the original Mon's designation, and lumberjack. Timburr, the lumberjacked Pokemon. Timburr young compete with each other by seeing who can lift the heaviest logs. They fell trees to collect this wood and use them to exercise. A timber colony territory can be easily distinguished in the forests of Unova by large swaths of deforested land. Though their thick coats protect them from the cold, it is observed that Timburr with less fur are able to exercise more without overheating, and therefore are seen as stronger and more valuable amongst their groups. I changed Gurdurr's pose for no other reason than I imagined it that way when I came up with the redesign, and I simply liked it better. I kept the changes from the first form in the logs and the fur and the reds. To be honest, Gurdurr is definitely my least favorite of the three, which is a shame because the idea behind these Pokemon is actually quite clever. But even with that said, I think it struck that balance of redesigning it to work in the ancient world and keeping it close enough to the original to be recognized as the same species. Like the others, I gave some more blatant hints at how this Pokemon would become its original form in the Pokédex. Gurdurr, the lumberjacked Pokemon and the evolved form of Timburr. They use their massive strength to fell trees and carry them back to rivers where colonies of these Pokemon build massive dam structures. They take care in picking out a special log that they carry around with them for their entire lives, and they take pride in carrying around the heaviest logs. This pursuit in finding heavy objects has led Gurdurr that live near human villages to steal heavier construction equipment like steel beams, which seems to earn them much respect from their peers. My changes for Conkeldurr came very easily, and weirdly enough, this one changed the least out of all of them. The original pose led very nicely into the concept that I was trying to do, so I kept it largely unaltered. One of the few edits was in the lengthening of its chin spike to more resemble the beard of a lumberjack. A plot hole that seemingly comes up when my design is introduced is that in the main series games, it is said that these Pokemon invented concrete, and that humans learned how to make it through these Pokemon. But using a bit of creative license, I think I came up with an explanation that not only works super well, but I think justifies this design entirely. I gotta say, I think I actually prefer my design to the original. In the colors and wood imagery, I personally think it makes it read as some weird troll-like woodland creature, and I honestly really like it. Conkeldurr, the timber-jacked Pokemon, and the evolved form of Gurdurr. Using their massive logs on rocks like a mortar and pestle, they can create a miraculous substance that starts out as a liquid, but solidifies into stone. They can be seen in the wild using the substance to fuse wood logs together, creating massive dam-like structures that they and their young take shelter in at night. Engineers have recently begun attempting to recreate this building material to little success, but it has recently been officially named after this Pokemon, having received the moniker Concrete. So there are my designs for the day. I hope you enjoyed them, and more importantly, I hope that you leave your suggestions for future ancient Pokemon redesigns below. I'll definitely need to use a few suggested designs later on down the line, but not next episode. No, I know exactly what we'll be up to. In the next episode, we'll be designing the final evolved forms of our starter Pokemon, Grookey, Fennekin, and Quaxly. I chose these three in particular for very important thematic reasons, but I'll get into why I did next time. Like I said earlier, not only should you suggest Pokemon in the comments, but give me feedback on the series, things that you like and dislike, and mons that you'd like to see in the future. That'll be all for now. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I'd like to ask you to subscribe and turn on the bell to get notified when I upload next.